Hi there! This is a video about passed pawns in chess. We're gonna look at the nature of those little pawns going forward, trying to promote to a queen. This is a fascinating aspect of chess and probably a little bit under-explained in GM talks. So today we're going to look at a great game from at the ongoing Gashimov Memorial tournament in Azerbaijan. Gashimov was unfortunately got ill at a very young age. I think he had a tumor in his brain. I saw him one last time in the Bundesliga, and then I think he disappeared completely, and 10 months later he was dead. He was a fantastic player, and if you want to understand the Rai Lopez as white, I could recommend going over some Gashimov games. Also, he was pretty tough as black in the modern Benoni. Anyway, this is Wang Hao, Chinese grandmaster, against Sam Shankland, and it is the so-called semi-Taras after c5 and c6. The system is kind of easy to play for black. I know this young Keimer guy has been doing pretty well with this. In general, white gets a majority in the center, and black gets a majority on the queen side, and both sides have relatively easy development, which is what I think I like about this system. Is like you're here, and you're ready to. You just need 3 more moves, and then you're completely developed as black, and have and your king is relatively safe already. We can see here that this structure is interesting. White has 1 pawn more in the center, and that means if this one goes forward, it will be a passed pawn that can maybe promote one day. But black, of course, has easy development, and he also usually gets the c file. In general, endings are it depends on the position if they're good for either side. I think on average, black is doing pretty well in the ending, but sometimes they are bad. It depends a little bit on how many pieces are left. I think in general, black would like to exchange everything because the pawn ending is at least fine for him. Okay, let's go on. And now all this is theory. Very natural move. And white developed it here both because he probably plans this at some point, but also because he needs to cover this with the rook. If in this position he plays this move, then black would play this move, which is a little bit annoying due to this one. So and then he will probably follow up with something like this and put pressure on the d pawn. Yeah. Okay, we're back here. Rook c8, all very natural moves. Bishop b3, h6 prevents something from going here. There's been some very famous attacking games in this system. Pulgievsky won a great game against Tal, where he did this, followed by this move. After e takes d5, he played e5, and then he got some more space on the king side and was able to I think he managed to transfer the knight to f5, where it led to a very strong and violent attack. So this is one of the ideas for white in the system. Another idea is, of course, just to queen the pawn on d4. Black is getting ready to maybe this, and he's of course afraid that white will be able to launch an attack on the king side, which is white's idea. H4 is both to gain a little bit of space. Sometimes you might even go all juggernaut here with d4 and d5, but it also gives space for the king, so there's no back rank made, and black will often try to get a lot of play in this c file here. Queen f4, rook c3, Just getting ready for this. By the way, often black should not. For instance, I think if black goes something like this, I think white will always do something like this with very nice attacking chances. He's gonna put this one here. You might get a rook somewhere over here, and these will be in danger. So this is something black should be very wary of, and this piece of course out of the game. So in general, knight f6 is met by d5 and e5, which can be very, very dangerous. Rook c3. So black keeps the knight here, where it also has the option of going to f8 to cover something. Bishop a4, bishop c6, and bishop takes. And in general, this is considered good for black to have this one exchanged, the bishops, because the white squared bishop was white's attacking bishop. This is the one he will use to attack this one. So now it's even better for black if he can get his rook into the open files. He might maybe go and win something. There are some pawns he can go after. So white strikes immediately, attacks the pawn, and creates a passed pawn. And when there is a passed pawn like here, the game sort of changes radically, because now at this moment the only question is this pawn strong or weak? If it's strong, then black is in trouble. If it's weak, then white is in trouble. And of course, often it's neither strong nor weak, just sort of in a balanced position. I think it's interesting. Nimzowitsch talked about that the passed pawn was a criminal that should be kept under lock. It was a bit strange explanation, but it is true that when one pawn here that's worth one as for a pawn can suddenly be worth like 9 for a queen, then it changes a lot of the things, and some of the usual sort of aspects of chess disappears, because it's only if the pawn is strong or weak that matters. Okay, and so black is hoping to be able to round this pawn up, block it, hopefully keep it here, because if it's blocked here on d7, he will be very hard pressed. White is balancing something with activity and trying to push the pawn and trying to start an attack. Queen a4, bishop d6, knight e5. Rather interesting situation here. I think that black made a mistake here. Well, he did make a mistake. So we see, what if he takes here? What happens if he takes here? Is that possible? That's the first thing we'll look at. It's clear that this is not good because of this check. So this check is serious stuff. What else could you think of? Of course, you would like to take the bloody pawn here on d5, but it's not possible. Something like this, what about that? Is that possible? That might be possible, actually, because the rook ending is better for black. The pawn is weak and will probably be lost. And something like this does not look like it's winning immediately. Maybe check. And I think this is probably not good. This is a very typical variation, but maybe black can just go f5. I have not checked with the computer, but it looks like he can go f5 and be relatively happy. It doesn't look like he's getting mated anytime soon here. So I think this is and probably can take the pawn next time. It's probably equal. White will this structure is not your perfect dream, so white will probably win something back at some point, but it's probably playable. So instead, black played this move, which is sort of looks smart. he does attack here, and he's getting ready to take the pawn here on d5. So he's threatening the pawn. He can't take on d7 due to queen takes e1. So looks interesting. And of course, white will never like to play something like this. This is always a disaster. And black will just take the pawn and probably be much better. So, but white has a strong move here, which is very tactical, and there are often a lot of tactics in these positions you have to be wary of. Queen b4. I don't know if you found this move. You could have paused the video. I didn't give you a warning. So it attacks the rook, and you can also sense that it's a smart move because it covers the white rook, it threatens this move, and it threatens on d6. So black is in trouble here, because after something like this, then white has this move with the very, very, very nasty check here. And it's very nice for white that this one is covered. And on d5, the knight also covers. So something like this, the knight covers back here. So everything works for white after queen b4. Very annoying. But okay, what about this move? And here we have the situation where this is important. This pawn, of course, even if black had many more pawns, it wouldn't matter. The only question is, can black deliver a perpetual check, or will white be able to queen the d pawn? Now, the rules for a situation like this is controlling squares that can give check. So you're and pushing the pawn as fast as possible. Here, of course, you have to move. If you go to h2, then he will take f2. So this move is necessary. This position is actually lost for black. The thing is, this structure here looks very ugly. But it helps the king from being sheltered in a good way. Also, it's even though it looks bad with the double pawn, it actually helps a lot because they take away many squares. So there this typical check on g4 and check on c1 is not possible when the pawn is on f3 as a double pawn. So white don't care that he has a double pawn. He's just happy that he has a very strong d pawn and will probably be able to queen. So queen b1, queen c6. Important little move, getting ready to push the pawn and covering the queen. So after this move, check. That at the moment you should be careful here. Don't take, because black has trump over here. He's got the distant pass pawn in the future, which will win. So this will not be good. But here white can just play king here, and black cannot take here because the pawn is queening. The king is too far away from the action. So queen f6 looks natural. Still, the ending is good for black due to the distant pass pawn. The d pawn will be controlled by the king, and then black will push the pawn, win the d pawn, and so on. But and black also threatens here, and you can forgive Sam for thinking this must be okay, but it's not. The problem is the queen is extremely strong on c6. It covers the most vital square, which is actually the c1 square that black needs for things. So d6, nice little move. And after something like this, you will go here, and there are no more checks, and it will be very, very hard to prevent this from happening. You basically can't stop it from happening. And after something like this, you might just go queen c7. So and this is of course even worse because it's made in two. So you can't do anything. So he started to improve the king. Also, why this is here, but white also just wins a tempi with this move, king d7, And there's no reason he's pinned here, but black does not have a move. So a4, h5 does not have a move. And notice that this is very important, that it's covered here, and white is getting ready for this move now. He took away this square, important little thing, before moving the queen. So this actually served a purpose, and this is an important concept, GM concept. When you're playing like this position, you have to limit the checks. Limit the checks. So you see with queen here, there will be a check here after king f1 if the queen had went to c7. So he plays a4 before he moves the queen. So here white is ready for this move now. Black goes queen f4. Another typical defensive measure, pinning the pawn. Queen e7, unpinning the pawn, very close to this move. Queen f6, king g3. Now this is cool, right? White is moving the king forward. Black is in zugzwang and has some problems here. There's he can't take because the king cannot get to the f7 square. So a6, queen c7 again, threatening this move here, and also threatening the pawn. There's no check either. King a1, king g2, queen e5, and just takes. There goes a pawn. There goes the trump of black's position. Queen f6, again pinning. Queen c7, queen e5, queen e7, queen f6, and here the trump a5, and black is in zugzwang. He will either have to move the queen, or and then this will happen, or he will take, and this will happen. So white will be able to queen. The king was completely safe during the whole trip. Very, very, very impressive technique by Wang Hao. The main point is limit the checks, and when there is a pass pawn on the board, the game changes. The pass pawn becomes the most important feature of the position. Is it strong? Is it weak? Can it be blockaded? Can you manage to get it free? Tactics is also an important thing. Often material is not so important. When one of the peasants can turn into a queen, it really changes everything. This was GM Talks. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and Merry Christmas.